that feeling when you check your bank account and instead of panic, you smile? Most people think that takes $1 million. But there's a number way smaller that changes everything. Here's the raw truth they don't teach you in school. Banks don't see a person when you walk in. They see a risk profile. To them, your net worth isn't your value. It's a score determining how much profit they can extract from you. The game is rigged, but not how you think. If you have $0, you're not just broke. You're an opportunity for fees. If you have 10K, you're just dead money waiting to be inflated away. But when you cross a specific hidden threshold, the entire financial system flips from taking your wealth to actively multiplying it. Today, we're cutting through the noise. We're going to trace one single journey, from absolute zero, struggling to keep the lights on, to the invisible $25 million realm where banks stop charging you fees and start offering you the keys to the kingdom. We'll show you exactly when and why that relationship changes. But first, you need to understand where the pain starts, at the very bottom. Now, let's look at the starting line, the $0 to $50K range. This is where most people are stuck, and honestly, the system is designed to keep you there. You open a basic checking account, thinking you're getting a safe place for your money. That's the first lie. You're not a customer to the bank at this level. You're a data point. Those small overdraft fees, those monthly maintenance charges, they aren't glitches, they're features. They are the bank's way of clawing back the liquidity they need to lend to the people who actually have money. Think about it. While you're stressing over a $30 fee, the bank is using your remaining balance to leverage millions. It's dead money sitting in your account while they crush it on the spread. But here's the kicker. The moment your balance drops, the algorithms flag you as high risk. They stop giving you the good rates and start pushing you toward high-interest credit cards, which is just another way to tether you to their ecosystem. You're paying them to hold your money and then paying them interest to borrow it back. It's a total scam designed to create a cycle of dependency. If you want to break out of this, you have to realize that keeping your cash in a standard retail bank account at this level is the single fastest way to lose purchasing power. You aren't building wealth. You're just paying for the privilege of existing in the financial system. Now, look at the 50K to 250K range, the middle-class purgatory. This is the stage where the bank stops treating you like a nuisance and starts treating you like a steady, reliable source of predictable income. They'll invite you into preferred status, give you a slightly better credit card with a higher limit, and assign you a relationship manager who sounds professional but is really just a glorified salesperson trained to cross-sell you financial products you don't need. They want you to feel special, but you're still just grazing in their pasture. They'll start pushing managed portfolios and high-fee mutual funds. They'll tell you it's for diversification, but in reality, they're harvesting management fees that eat away at your compounding potential. It's a total scam dressed up in a tailored suit. You're finally generating enough capital to actually move the needle, but the system is working overtime to ensure that money stays locked in. They're proprietary vehicles. They don't want you to know how to deploy capital effectively. They want you to keep feeding the machine. The game at this level is about illusion, the illusion of growth, the illusion of prestige, and the illusion of partnership. But remember, the moment you need liquidity for a massive opportunity, they'll tighten the lending criteria so fast it'll make your head spin. You're playing with enough money to be interesting to them, but not enough to hold any real leverage. Once you cross the 250K mark, you enter private client territory. The lobby gets quieter, the coffee tastes better, and they give you a direct line to a banker who actually picks up. They want you to believe you've finally arrived. But here's the cold truth. You've just moved from being a retail fee generator to a mid-tier asset pool. The bank now views you as a high net worth individual, which is just industry code for someone with enough assets to justify more complex, higher margin products. They'll pitch you on structured notes, private equity funds, and complex tax-deferred vehicles. They're still selling products, but now the commissions are buried deeper in layers of management fees and opaque expense ratios. The goal remains the same. Keep your capital within their walls. Friction-free for them, but heavy with hidden drag for you. You're earning slightly better rates, sure, but you're also losing the ability to pivot. You are now managed, which is a polite way of saying you've outsourced your financial agency. The system is testing your discipline. If you can keep your assets liquid and portable while playing the prestige game, you're winning. If you get comfortable and let them optimize your portfolio, you're just a more expensive cog in their machine. At this level, the most dangerous thing you can do is let someone else decide where your capital sleeps at night. We've hit the $1 million mark. This is where the narrative shifts from management to leverage. You're no longer just a client. You're a line item on a private banking balance sheet that the bank actually tracks. At this level, they stop pushing retail mutual funds and start offering Lombard lending. Basically, they let you borrow against your own portfolio at rock-bottom rates. This is the secret door. They want to keep your assets in their ecosystem so they can lend against them, but you can turn this to your advantage. You're finally in the inner circle where you can negotiate terms, demand fee waivers, and access institutional-grade deals. But don't get it twisted. They're only being helpful because they want to capture your liquidity for their own balance sheet expansion. The real game here is maintaining your mobility. If you keep your wealth locked in one bank, they own you. But if you play multiple banks against each other, using them for cheap leverage while you keep your core assets portable, you're finally in control. You're not just a depositor anymore. You're an institutional partner. The bank is now working for your growth, but only because they're betting on your continued success within their walls. The stakes are higher now. One bad move, and you lose that leverage. It's time to play hardball. When you break past the $10 million ceiling, the game changes once again. At this level, you've essentially graduated from wealth creation to wealth preservation and legacy. The banks stop acting like aggressive salespeople and start acting like high-end concierge services. You aren't dealing with a branch manager. You're dealing with the private wealth division, where the goal isn't just to sell you a product, but to build a financial fortress around you. They'll talk to you about tax-efficient trusts, offshore entities, and complex estate planning. It sounds fancy, but keep your guard up. This is their final attempt to lock you into their ecosystem permanently. The irony? While they offer these exclusive structures, they are actually terrified of you leaving. They know that at $25 million, you have the capital to bypass their internal systems entirely and go straight to the sources, the real private markets, family offices, and direct investment syndicates. You are now the big whale. If you play this correctly, you dictate the terms. You don't ask for better rates. You tell them what you're willing to pay, and they scramble to accommodate you. But the danger here isn't fees, it's complacency. If you stop auditing their performance because you're too wealthy to care, you'll end up with a portfolio that's perfectly preserved, but dead in the water. The elite are not the ones who just have money. They are the ones who stay in control of it. At this altitude, you realize the bank isn't your partner. It's an infrastructure provider you've outgrown. You're now dealing with the multifamily office level. They don't want your deposits. They want your reputation and your network. They'll try to lure you into exclusive investment clubs or private syndicates where the entry fee is your time and influence. You're being groomed for a higher layer of the system. The danger here? You stop being a decision maker and become a member. You're trading your autonomy for access. If you lose that, you lose your edge. The ultra-wealthy don't stay rich by following their bankers' curated, exclusive opportunities. They stay rich by building their own direct lines to private markets, bypassing these intermediaries entirely. You have the capital to fund your own deals, structure your own tax-efficient entities, and hire your own legal counsel to manage risks that banks want to manage for you for a heavy cut. The shift here is total. Stop asking for a seat at their table. Start building your own table. If you're still waiting for a banker's approval on a transaction, you're still playing by their rules. True freedom is when you dictate the flow of capital, not the bank. You've reached the summit, $25 million and beyond. At this level, banking as you know it is dead. You are the architect of your own ecosystem. You don't store capital in a bank. You move it through a private treasury, a family office, or a proprietary vehicle designed by you for you. The banks that once charged you fees are now fighting for the privilege of handling your transactional plumbing. But here is the ultimate test. Money at this scale doesn't buy you freedom. It buys you complexity. The greatest threat isn't the bank. It's the temptation to stop auditing the machine. Many people hit this level and become passive, handing the keys to a team of experts. That is how dynasties collapse. You must remain the chief risk officer of your own life. True, elite wealth isn't about the number in the ledger. It's about the fact that you no longer rely on the system to survive. Remember where you started, stressing over a $30 fee, waiting for a bank's permission to exist. Now, the system moves around you. Keep your edge, keep your liquidity. And never forget that the moment you stop paying attention, you aren't the investor anymore. You're the prey. The game doesn't end. You just stop being the pawn.